Hello, fellow fumblers, and welcome to another episode of the Film Fumblers podcast, the show where four friends fumble through your favorite films. Today, we are reviewing Whiplash, a movie released in 2014 and directed by Damien Chazelle. So without further ado, my name's Adrian.
I'm Jay.
I'm Taryn.
What's up? It's James.
All right. Jump right in.
To the shot.
These shots.
Oof.
Ooh, taking these shots with our officially branded film fumblers.
Try to cover that up. Let's get that
Cheers.
angle.
Shot glasses. Cheers.
Cheers. Ooh, not bad.
Woo!
Oh, man. There's something about chasing with an IPA that just doesn't...
Yeah, what are you guys drinking? What are you guys drinking tonight?
Dude, I think this is my favorite beer. The Santa Fe Adobe Igloo.
Taryn, every time I'm at the store and I see that six-pack, I think of you. And I'm like, Taryn, like if I bought this.
What's the flavor profile on that bad boy for those who don't know?
So it says it's a winter ale brewed with cocoa? I don't know. Chocolate and chilies, basically.
Yeah, it's
so
like a
good.
malty. It's really good.
So it's a little spicy, a little sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me like a more exotic form of Bosquet's Bosquet Brewing Scotia. That kind of like, yeah, it's a good beer. I'm drinking Sierra Nevada Torpedo Extra IPA.
Why is it extra?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
more expensive?
It just
Is it extra?
penny.
extra because it
Pale?
acts out in social situations. I guess I don't know.
Oh, that kind of extra. Okay.
Makes
Yeah.
you act out.
Oh, maybe. All right.
Wait, what about you
Still
guys?
getting unruly with the Trulies.
Nice.
Passion
nice.
fruit.
I haven't had freaking seltzers in a minute. I need to.
It's like all
They
I've
don't
been drinking, dude.
Finally came off that train a little while ago. I'm enjoying beers again.
I know, that's why I went with IPA. I'm just like, what about you, Jay? What are you drinking?
I just cashed a Truly, and now I've got some wine.
Oh,
dang.
look at this
Yeah.
guy. That's the kind of drink you drink when you're listening to jazz. You're just like, oh.
It's the kind of drink.
Uh-huh.
It's the kind of drink you drink when you have an SM7B mic and all of us are rocking
Okay.
Yetis.
In the
Yeah.
warmest lighting
go.
possible.
Wow.
Here we go.
Yeah, so if you
And the
guys
one-
notice, Jay's voice has more of that like raspy, like deep tones. It's because he's rocking a
Welcome back
Very nice.
episode.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like you're
Um,
sitting right next to me. Holy shit.
What I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do is this is the Coppola wine, and I think that my own little meta is gonna be when we review a movie that I really like and I admire the director. I think I'm gonna drink this wine.
Keep an
Well,
eye
look
out
at
for that
you.
one.
So,
Look at you.
spoilers. Jay really
Yeah.
Full of
likes.
spoilers.
Wine
right.
equals a casual flex. Speaking of wine, we went to. Sorry, I keep. It's like my sister's birthday, and we went out to dinner, and we got $100 bottle of wine,
Wow.
Ooh.
and it was the best
Wow.
one I've ever had. And I don't really drink wine, but I was like, wow, I could actually
We did
taste
that.
the price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's probably $20 at the supermarket, but
Yeah,
we bought it at
yeah.
a restaurant.
yeah,
how it
basically,
always
yeah.
goes. All right, James, let's take it straight to you. Whiplash. You picked this one.
Yeah, dude.
Did I?
Yeah, yes.
Oh,
Yes, you
shit.
picked it.
Oh, okay.
Why'd you pick it? Let's hear your opening thoughts.
I'm a drummer. I'm not a jazz drummer, and I'm not a good drummer, but I hit some sticks and skins and stuff every once in a while.
I think you're a good drummer.
So,
I think you're a
aw,
good drummer.
I also think
love you,
you're.
Jay. Me and Jay are in a band. We're in a band. I don't know. We don't even
I
know
don't know
anymore.
either.
It's kind of
Anyways,
We've had this conversation.
yeah, many a time. But yeah, so open with a drum solo. I got the drum set right back here. We could
Yeah,
do
you're gonna
it.
hop on?
Faster! Someone's gotta yell at me to like motivate me.
Just green screen.
But
music.
yeah, my brother turned me on to this movie. I think pretty much when it came out a few years ago. He's like, "You need to watch this movie. Watch it. It's a drum movie." And I never watched it. I think I finally watched it a couple years ago, and I was like, "Oh, shit! Like, this is pretty cool. I was like, oh, this is like a different side of drumming, and you never would think that a movie would be solely focused on drumming like that. And so I think this movie is like incredibly unique, like within the vast majority of movies. So I that's my first initial thoughts.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not that unique, right? Drumline, or is that what it's called? Let's talk about this. Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Nick Cannon's been there, done
Dude,
that.
been there, done that. 2002. All right.
Did his hands bleed in that movie? Come on.
I don't know, but I cried. So.
Jeez, I don't think I've ever seen that
was-
movie. Like, you cried? Really?
I was probably 8
Are you
years old.
upset? Are you upset?
No. I didn't cry.
Say it for the chat. Say it for the chat. Yell it.
What? Yeah, what?
That you're upset.
Oh, no. I was like, what are you? Okay. Yeah, so we were, I feel like we've also talked about this. We were also kind of in band in middle school, which like I feel like doesn't count. It's like almost not even worth mentioning because middle school band and like high school marching band are two completely different things. Like
Yeah, and this
its
is
own
college
culture.
band.
And then this is
Yeah.
college jazz, like, you know,
Prestigious school, like
Yeah.
upper echelon of music schools,
the
right?
best
Yeah.
the best music school, like arguably in the world, right? Like in the country is what he said, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you know, definitely a different take. But I didn't have any band teachers that were that intense, I guess.
Yeah.
all of our all of
the-
our band teachers were pushovers, and we kind of bullied them, and we were the
In,
worst fucking
in
kids.
the movie, he throws stuff at his students, but in our band class, we threw stuff at the teacher. So
Yeah,
it was a very different dynamic.
yeah.
Oh man.
God.
Dude, that's crazy because I'm sorry, what's his name? Damien Chazelle, the director,
Yeah.
said that he learned drums and was like a drummer and stuff, and like that this shit like all like happened to him and shit, like not like as crazy obviously, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
I thought that
Loosely
was really
based off
crazy.
of like his actual experiences, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
And it's really interesting because there's like this really aggressive tone throughout the whole movie, right? And what I read was that he had been writing La La Land for a while, and like that musical was like the thing that he wanted to like come on strong onto the scene with, basically.
Okay.
And he kind of hit a wall and was like, fuck this, and he put it away, and he just started writing this movie out of like anger, of,
Yeah.
like, not
Yeah.
being able to focus on La La Land.
Wow.
And you can like feel that in
Yeah,
this movie,
dude.
you know, it's
Huh.
kind of nuts.
So you know that this movie was based off of a 17-minute short pilot, right? That he sent to
Sundance.
some of those,
right?
Sundance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys watch it?
I skimmed through it because it's on YouTube for free.
Yeah, it's essentially like shot for shot of the scene where Fletcher first kind of encounters Damien.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically shot for shot.
And Jake,
Okay.
is J.K. Simmons?
Yeah.
He's in the
J.K.
short.
Simmons
in it.
in it. The only other actor, so Naaman is played by somebody else, but the backup drummer is played by the same guy.
Yeah, dude, the
Okay.
guy who plays
Yeah.
Neiman in the short is the drummer for Scott Pilgrim. I was like, oh, that guy's
Yeah.
a drummer in real life, I guess.
Oh, what? That's cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
forgot his
you,
name in that
you
movie.
definitely need a drummer in real life for this role. Like,
Yeah.
there's no getting around that. And
Yeah, you can't
I
fake
think
that
you know,
shit.
we mentioned before, Miles Teller, he had been drumming since he's 15. He took a lot of lessons though, like before the show
Yeah.
again, or the movie again, just to.
Yeah, you were mentioning
It was
like,
impressive.
how crazy this movie was, like drum wise. I don't know if you were meant like the style of jazz drumming, because he said he had to like learn how to like, because he was like good at drums, but he had to learn how to like be like through the posture of like your shoulders were like slanted like a certain way, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, you just compose yourself differently, and it's just so cool how
Yeah.
Yeah.
drums are just so dynamic like that. It's cool.
Yeah, I watched that interview with him and J.K. Simmons, and he was saying like that was like the most thing that he was trying to get down just right, was just that posture. like just like kind of that was like the most physical thing that he needed to try to do, and like obviously like everything was like dubbed over or whatever, but like it was I thought it was pretty accurate, and they got away with it as well, like doing the really close ups, like where you just see the symbol and you just see his face, so like you didn't have to get like all that continuity, which I thought was kind of clever.
Yeah.
for sure.
I was gonna say that for a movie kind of rooted in music and about like music, the visuals were on another level. Like the cinematography of this movie was gorgeous. There were
Yeah.
so many good, like crazy transitions and
Yeah.
focus changes they would do and stuff like that were
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Dude, all the shots that were like really close to instruments, and they would like follow like the trumpets or like do stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
cool, dude. I love that.
Yeah,
are
it's like almost uncomfortably close. Like you literally see the sweat, you see like the blood, you see the tears. Like
Yeah.
I remember in band, because so I played snare drum in band, and then I switched over to French horn, and you have the little thing you open so you could blow out all the
music juice.
condensation, the music juice. Yeah,
Yeah.
condensation is basically spit, right? And like they do that in the movie, and it's just like so weird and it's so personal. It's like uncomfortably close. That's what's like interesting about this movie is that you're uncomfortable like most of the time. Like in most of the situations, like you're just like, oh, it's kind of you get that sense of dread. Like you're just like fuck, like between him and his dad, him and the family, like him and Fletcher. Like it's so close and personal.
Yeah. There's a lot of like the family scenes that just hit weird for me. Like in some ways it's like I feel like I've spent a lot of my life pursuing things that are like, one in a million shot or whatever you want to call it. And like he's kind of doing that too. Like he wants to be this like the greatest, jazz drummer of all time, basically.
Yeah.
And like having that like sit down dinner with the family and they're like, oh, what are you doing? What are you up to these days? It just is weird. Like that whole tension was really weird. And like the other, kids or whatever his age are like doing football stuff. And he's like casually trashing on them for like playing a like shitty division, but they're like proud of it. That's like
Yeah,
my
it's
whole
like
life growing up was that dynamic
Yeah.
with me and my
Yeah,
cousins
it's
and shit,
yeah. And it's like the weird disconnect between like appreciating art. Like art is kind of thrown off to the wayward. Like for example, Taryn could probably chime in here. Like I think about my wife's was an art major. She studied she kind of did porcelain a lot, ceramics, and you guys learned Arita porcelain, right? Which is like
Yeah.
there's only two places you can learn that in the entire world. Like it's pretty freaking impressive. Like this is a special kind of porcelain that's only in Japan and here in New Mexico. And you guys got to learn that stuff. Like
Yeah.
and I don't think a lot of people realize like how monumental that stuff is. He's like, oh, she's literally just playing with clay, Like you can kind of like like swipe that off like
Right.
she's not really doing anything. Like
Dude,
it's super
that's
important,
so
but like
yeah.
yeah, but like that I thought of that. I was just like, man, like I think the arts get shit on like when your parents are just like, damn, he's a fucking art major. He's not a fucking engineer or anything, or he's not playing football,
Yep.
Right.
America's favorite pastime.
Which is
Actually,
like
that's baseball,
arguably,
but
the same as like pursuing the arts, like pursuing
Yeah.
football,
and that was like the difference that he made. He's like, dude, I'm in a fucking top college in the
Right.
entire world. You guys are playing Division 3.
Yeah.
And he like one of the best lines he says,
Yeah.
he's like, well, come play with us. And he's like, 3 words the NFL will never tell
Yeah,
you.
that's so good.
And that's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I was like, oh my God, that's such a shower comeback. Like when you're like, fuck, I should have said that to him. Like, that's like, it's like not realistic. That's like something you would,
Right.
you're like laying in bed and you're just like, fuck, I should have told them that. But,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
whatever, for sake of this, the script, that was just gold for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that's so funny you bring up Arita because I never thought about it that way, but it's like, dude, people like you just see the thing you made and like they don't like understand like the process behind it. You're like, no, this shit was fucking
Yeah.
hard. I was sweating this. Like you have to do it such a
Yeah.
specific way.
Yeah,
it's like
like the guy who taught your guys' teacher, like you guys, she calls him sensei, right? Like it's
yeah,
like
everyone
it's like
knows.
this very intimate thing, and that's what's like represented in this movie. It's like it's such an intimate thing. Like it's just you see blood, you see sweat, like it's just
Yeah.
the your bodily fluids. Like it's just that's what this movie captured like so well for me.
I see it as like two sides, right? There's the relationship of like the student and the master, right? And there's the idea around like mastering a craft, right? Which is like more applicable to the arts than anything. But when you compare it to like football, where by the time you're like 30, your body is fucked and you're not able to do that anymore. Whereas like a craft, like a musical instrument or pottery or whatever it is, you can do for a lifetime, you know?
Hey,
And you
buddy,
can spend.
tell that to Brady, who's heading to what his like eighth Super Bowl. Is
Yeah,
that like how old
Look,
is that man? Sorry, just
maybe,
43, I
maybe.
think we talked about this last
Yeah.
week privately.
Yeah.
look, I'm sure they'll pump him full of steroids as long as he brings in money.
Yeah.
But you can spend your entire life
No,
trying
yeah,
to
you're right.
master something, right? A
Yeah.
craft, and still never get there. And I thought
Yeah.
that they did a great job at like showing that process and that dedication and like what it
And
takes, right? And maybe
yeah,
it's extreme, but like
and that's like kind of what drums are. Like it's easy to learn, lifetime to master. You know, like it's like I feel like most people can just like pick up a beat, just jam with it, but
Hmm.
it's that next step that you would have to take to be just absolutely bonkers.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I dabbled in drums for like a hot 45 seconds way back. Like it was like after I think it was after high school, or maybe it was no, it was actually I think like my freshman year. I bought a drum set, and like me and my cousin Jimmy, we would like he played guitar, and we would kind of have like little jam sessions, but I never really stuck around with it. But like you said, James, it was I mean I could keep a beat. It was easy to kind of keep that beat, but to take it to those next levels was way something that I never
Yeah.
would even get closer. I took lessons and everything too, but it just never stuck.
Yeah,
With it,
which goes into like the next conversation we could have. Is just like how like where are you gonna go? Like how are you gonna push yourself? Are you gonna allow outside forces to inspire you? Are you gonna try to do it yourself? Like that's like I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's different for everybody, and like that's where the conflict of the movie kind of sits, right? Is like in Fletcher's mind, the greats are forged in the fucking fire, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
They're beaten and beaten down and built back up. It's almost like
yeah,
military training in there
yeah, yeah,
with them.
yeah.
I don't know if I think that there may be some truth to that. Like you're dragging yourself through the mud to like get to that next level. There is a little bit of truth in that. But I don't think that you need to have like a fucking symbol hurled at your face for you to get there, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
So
some
like,
people might.
what do you guys think about his? Yeah. So you said you don't know if you agree with Fletcher's style, but like, I
I
don't
think
know,
I agree
Taryn.
with it to a point, but
Yeah,
he takes it too far.
yeah. What do you think, Taryn? Like, is it like, I don't know. Did you guys ever feel like what if somebody did that to me? Like,
Oh,
it's
I'd
kind
be
of
like,
like that.
fuck this
It's like
guy.
that. Yeah, and it's and like, and I'm not to say that you like you're weak or anything, but like
yeah.
that's what would separate you from like somebody else like Neiman. Like he like he took it and he was like, I'm gonna take it as a challenge. Like I think if that happened to me, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like I'm out of here, right? Like I think
Yeah.
I would crumple under the pressure, but like
See,
I
and
don't know.
But I
this
just
is
mean like
Is
where,
that
the slapping and shit. Like there's the stuff that you're like, you just don't do
yeah
that at all.
yeah,
yeah
I think that like Terrence said, fuck this guy, right? I think the ultimate fuck this guy is what Neiman does in the end. Like that
Yeah.
is
yeah
like where
yeah
you hit. That's where you strive for. And yeah, maybe that means taking some bullshit for a bit, but like if at the end you can like really fuck this guy, like or not really, but
but
that when you
isn't
get to that level,
but isn't that in itself tragic?
that J.K. Simmons won in the end. Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
both
Yeah,
of them.
it is.
I mean, there's like no winners at the end. Like it's like I don't want to jump too ahead, but like it's just like it's like damn, it's like it's very sad to see Neiman's dad stare at him, and I don't think he's like in all of like what he's doing. Like, he's just like he's just like he's hitting
who
all the
is
symbols.
this person?
He's just
Yeah.
like my son's a monster, and I've lost him.
Yeah,
to
dude,
this other monster.
it's so
It's like
sad.
such a tragic, weird ending. Like I don't want to get too
Like
into
the fact that the dad even goes at all to the end, I'm like, damn. Like I wonder like how that conversation went. You know what I mean? There's no way he was just
Yeah.
fine with that shit after all this stuff
Yeah.
that happened.
That's
and
a
like
hard one, dude.
and that's what's like this movie is like it brings up it's a very simple concept, I think, and like on face value you might be like, oh, there's not tons to talk about here, but like once you just like dig deep in it, and or if you even have like a little inkling of relation to it, like you can just kind of like snowball with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
For sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, have you guys seen Black Swan?
No.
Yes.
Oh, it's like the same fucking movie. Like,
There's hard parallels, like it's just like
Oh.
being so caught up in your craft.
so obsessed with
Black,
getting
That's the
better.
Black
Ballet,
Swan,
right?
Black
Yeah.
Swan is like more fucking weird and intense, kind of out there kind of movie.
Yeah, but
But like,
just that
yeah.
chase for perfection and like what it does to
Yeah.
people is like it's
Mhm.
just so crazy to see. I don't know. It's such an interesting
Cutthroat.
concept.
Cutthroat like business. Look, and that's what's crazy about the arts. It's like, you know, a lot of people like steal each other's ideas and they try to make it better, and like, you know, nothing new is under the sun. Like it's all been thought of. Like, I mean, I guess you could say that about anything in life, but like
Yeah.
it's just the competitiveness of it.
Yeah, dude, that's like one of the worst things about a lot of entertainment industries, especially like video games, is like they're dealing with so many things like crunch and like overworking their employees, but it's like if you don't want to deal with that, they'll just hire some like 20-year-old that's just dying to get in. They'll like make them do it and they'll be happy to do it. So it's like
Yeah,
that competition is just always there, and it's like hard to
Mhm.
get out of, I guess. And that happened in
Yeah.
this movie too, with the
yeah,
all the different drummers and shit.
yeah.
Well, it's like he was never trying to replace him,
Yeah.
right? He was just trying to taunt him or challenge him or whatever. But like,
Yeah,
It's
he
still
knew it
fucked
was
up.
him. He knew it was him the whole time, right? Like he was
Yeah.
just like, I know it's you. Like it was just that like kind of
Yeah.
weird thing. It's just
and it's interesting
regardless
that,
of who he had to fuck over, Fletcher. You know,
yeah,
he just wanted his Charles Parker. Is that who it was?
Charlie Parker, yeah.
Charlie Parker. That he always kept talking about it. You know, he didn't become who he was until somebody pushed him over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's like interesting about the ending. And like you say that nobody wins, and I think I agree. But like, Neiman, it's kind of inferred that he is gonna be great, one of the greats, and
Sure.
Fletcher never was. He was just
Yeah.
a teacher, right?
And that's what's funny is like you always hear that like those who can't do teach.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you always hear that. And then you go into the fucking jazz bar and you're expecting him to be like playing some crazy ass shit, and he's playing some like basic shit. It's like, bro, are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's
That's
like,
so funny.
come on, dude. No, maybe I'm nitpicking here, but
That's funny because I like that they
it's like
showed him.
lackadaisical like
Yeah.
jazz fucking solo or whatever.
But that's the thing, right? Is like he's at best a jazz bar headliner, whereas like Neiman will go on to be better. But you know, is Fletcher to blame or whatever the word is for Neiman's greatness? Like that's where the conflict.
That's why I
also
think Fletcher
continues.
wins in the end, because he did it. He got his fucking, what's his name, Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker.
You
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that look in his face. You're like, he's like, I fucking
get-
did it.
They just had different goals then.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
you know, Neiman wanted to be great. Fletcher wanted to make a great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And maybe they both win and lose. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. It's so funny that you think that about him playing piano, James? Because like I
Like, I
like
don't-
that they showed him
maybe-
playing any instrument at all. Because I was like, can
Yeah.
he even do this? But then he could, and I was like, okay, cool. That's like all I thought
Yeah.
about that, I guess.
I don't know, and I know like a lot of musicianship is like you don't have to be flashy all the time to be proficient or even advanced. Like I just was just I'm just being a nitpicker here, kind of just like I'm just more like fuck Fletcher is kind of
Sure,
my
yeah, yeah.
feeling.
All right, so let's stay on Fletcher then for a minute and talk about J.K. Simmons' performance. Won quite a bit of awards for his performance as Fletcher. Where are you guys sitting with that? How do you feel? You know, how do you think he did? Was it? I don't know.
Dude,
Where you at?
he's so good, man. Like
Yeah,
this movie,
deservedly
like
so. Like
yeah.
winning all the awards, like
Yeah.
it's insane.
mhm. Like just the range on this fucking guy, dude. Like you see him as J. Jonah Jameson, this goofy ass guy, and then you see him as the voice of Tenzin in the last what is it, Legend of Korra? He's just like this stoic like adult figure, or whatever. And then he's just the most
Oh,
intense
I didn't even-
motherfucker.
I didn't even
Huh.
get that relation when you sent that in the chat. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I realized that
Yeah.
later. I was like, they
Oh
probably...
wait, he voices.
yeah,
that
he
guy?
voices that guy. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
that's
should've
that's
mentioned
Oh.
that's Aang's kid in the newer Avatar show.
Yeah.
Newish Avatar
Oh,
show.
okay.
Yeah.
Just for
get
context,
that
it's
either.
just a video that somebody put the voice lines of Whiplash over the cartoon, and it's fucking funny. But yeah, I guess if you didn't know that, maybe it's kind of weird, but my bad.
Yeah.
No, yeah, no, it
Yeah.
was still.
Yeah, dude, that's like the most intense fucking person like I've seen on screen, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was terrified of this fucking guy.
Yeah, like besides like I don't know, have you guys seen Full Metal Jacket? Like it's like the same drill sergeant
sergeant, yeah.
instructor, just like but like this has those same vibes like when he comes in, everybody stands up and they're just like, you know, they stand straight and they're ready to get their ass chewed. They're probably trying to be invisible amongst everybody, but
Yeah.
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 And like he'll just turn it on in a fucking second, dude. Like I don't
Yeah.
know. When he goes off, it's just out of nowhere almost, and is
Yeah.
very intimidating.
There's a quote from the director saying that when he was directing J.K. Simmons, he told him like, there's like a shift pretty early on with his character, and he's like, okay, from this point on, I don't want to see a person on screen anymore. I want to see a monster. Like, give me a monster, give me a fucking gargoyle, like crazy acting. And so to counter that, like when the cameras were not rolling, apparently J.K. Simmons was like the nicest motherfucker on set. But like I feel like
Yeah.
you kind of have to be.
Yeah, you're just
gonna
like I
act
was
that.
just acting, guys. It's all good.
Yeah, especially like you're laying out all the slurs like that are just like unspeakable, like just
Right.
like Jesus, like
The real bad F words.
yeah. Yeah.
It was intense. I think that's a good way to describe
Yeah.
it.
So
Right.
have you guys ever had a teacher like that?
Who slapped me in the face?
No, I mean obviously like and you know that's like obviously like kind of
Over the top.
Over-
Yeah.
over exaggerated over the top, yeah. Like but
Just intimidating.
have you guys
in
ever
general.
have you ever had someone that's like super intimidating like that?
I'm
Not
trying
a
to think.
teacher.
I feel like that would be more of a coach, right? That would be someone you would run into in something extracurricular. It wouldn't be, I can't see, a math teacher, like screaming like, if you don't
Yeah.
get your times tables right, I swear to God, that
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
the vibe fits for crafting greatness and
Yeah.
yeah, it's not for just learning
Yeah.
physics or whatever it is.
So for me, I had a teacher similar to this, not to the point of yelling, just a miserable son of a bitch. When I was in just ex-cop. So for those who don't know,
Okay.
I majored in criminal justice at community college in New Mexico, and I had a ex-cop who did I don't know what it was, like police practices or some bullshit class.
That makes sense.
And he was a asshole, dude. He was just absolutely just brutal. Like he kicked people out of class all the time, and he was just like, if you guys didn't read the material, just leave now because we're going straight from the book, like we're doing this and that. Like he was just a miserable guy. Man, this guy hated his life and he hated everybody. And there was one time, so he didn't like being called a cop. He liked being called a policeman.
Oh boy.
And somebody called him a cop, and he got so fucking pissed, and he kicked the guy out of the class. And it was just like, this guy was like super intense all the fucking time. He just smelled like cigarettes, and he just and so we got a question in the chat. Did it hurt or help me? I think generally it helped me because he also said one time, he said, you know what? It would be better for me to break you down than the guy out there on the street that's gonna kill you. And like I was like,
Jesus Christ.
because he's like if I'm training people to be in law enforcement, I'm nothing compared to those guys out there. And he said that one time. But the same exact thing happened where he got fired because he was so fucking mean. I was regretting it. I had him for the next semester in forensics lab or something like that, which is a really fucking cool class. So like you go into they had an empty classroom and they had like a person dead inside the class, and you had to do fingerprints, you had to get all the evidence and stuff. It was really fun.
Oh, that's cool.
But he got fired. So I had a really cool teacher. So but yeah, that was he was just a very intense person.
Yeah.
But-
Did he actually kill the guy? Is that why he got fired?
Probably, yeah. I don't know the whole thing, but like yeah, everyone was like, "Oh my god, thank God he got fired." And there was murmurings that he like lost somebody's like final paper and he failed them, and they were like, "What? We fucking turned it in and this and that." And it was like he was just a miserable man, but yeah.
Damn, yeah, I don't know if I had any teachers that intense. That sounds horrible.
That makes sense for something like law enforcement. Now that I think,
Sure.
Yeah.
law
Yeah.
enforcement or like military, right? You know, like
Yeah,
drill
definitely
sergeant.
military. Yeah.
Yeah, same line of
Something that I thought was an interesting like thing to show, and I just wonder like where it came from, you know, on like a personal level from the director. But like, and I've seen this movie a couple times now, maybe 3 or 4. But the thing that I noticed this time specifically was when, so he makes the cut for the core band, right? And then he like immediately goes and asks that girl out from the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, he's got that confidence going, so he's like riding on it, which is cool. And like a little bit later on in the movie, there's a point where he's like on the bus going to some jazz thing, and he's watching a video of one of the greats playing drums, and then there's like a text from her that like interrupts the video, right? And that just like sets the scene for how he begins to feel about her. Like that's the first time that she gets in the way of his.
That's
I didn't catch that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, it took me a few viewings, but when I saw it, I was like, oh shit, this is like, he's setting it up for like she's getting in the way.
Yeah,
right?
because actually,
Yeah.
it felt kind of. I mean, this is the second time I watched this movie, so it still felt like out of nowhere. Like they didn't really like show enough like development. I guess maybe they didn't need to, but it just felt so
think-
out of nowhere that he was just breaking up with her.
I think like it was just like the director's intention was just to show that power struggle between Neiman and Fletcher.
Yeah.
There was not enough time to show everything else, you know? Like it was.
But it's an
It was-
interesting thing to add. Like, do you guys think that in the pursuit of mastering a craft or of greatness, quote unquote,
Yeah.
would pursuing something else like a relationship or whatever get in the way of that?
No.
Or would it balance that life? Like,
I feel like if you're
Yeah.
truly a master, like I'm always like impressed with people that do so many things. Like they're like a nurse and they're fucking ripped and they're like
Yeah.
got 3 other jobs and all this kind of stuff. If you're a badass, you're a badass, like regardless, and you're and you're gonna do it, right? Like, and that's where like I'm gonna maybe go into derogatory terms towards Neiman. He's kind of a little beta, like he's like, and like that's like his whole like he's like shy and this and that and like he's got mommy issues. He's always looking down and he even says that he's like, oh yeah, my dad says I have trouble looking at people in the eye and stuff like that.
Right.
And like you see that with him, like he has that feeling of it's just like I don't know. It's just a lot of insecurity built into him, and so that's why he has to disregard everything else in his life.
Yeah, it's like
And
this
if
is
he
finally
was
my
truly-
shot, right? It's
Yeah,
like, I
if he was
gotta do it.
truly a badass, he would do it all. Like that would be the true badass. He would do it all. But that's
Yeah.
the sad thing about this is that he's gonna be the lonely drummer. That's just
Exactly, and I think that's a big
it's
part
sad.
of it is like when you get there, right? You've mastered it, you've achieved it. If you can ever
Yeah.
master a thing, that's a whole other discussion.
which goes back to Soul, the movie, where
Yeah.
he finally gets to play with the big jazz lady, and then he fucking feels dead inside because he didn't live life.
Yeah.
You know?
Disregarded everything
And that's
else.
yeah, and that's damn.
Like,
Maybe
what
Soul
it-
was pretty good.
What the fuck?
Like it for me, I took it as like I think that there is a balance there, and like having that other person, you know, specifically in this case, would be like to tell you when you're getting too crazy about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it's at the same time, like when you do get there, you have like people to share it with, right? You're
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
lonely spiraling out, diving into drugs, fucking musician.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Jazz drummers are probably not doing cocaine and heroin like.
Well, but look at the
Every-
guy, right, who like hung himself and in the movie,
Oh,
right? Like he
yeah.
commits suicide. There's no drug, sure, but like you know,
Yeah.
just that whole like stressing
Emptiness.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
driving for something
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
you know.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, and
it's-
then real quick, another thing about like having a relationship like that is like they can tell you when you're being too crazy, but they're also there if you're getting down or whatever, down in the dumps. They're there to push you back up, right? Like, I
Yeah,
feel like
sure.
yeah, it was just a balance that he did not have. or want to
Which
have.
makes this movie kind of like great because it didn't fall into tropes where like he got the girl back again
Right.
and he was a jazz drummer. It was just kind of
Yeah.
sad,
Even-
you know.
even
He
though
didn't
I've
get
seen it
he didn't get the
before.
girl at the end, you know. Like it's like
Even though I'd seen it before, at the end I always think that she's like joking. Like, oh, I'll have to check with my boyfriend. And he's just like, oh, cool, okay, yeah. And I always expect her to be like, no, just kidding. But she does, like, she's not kidding.
Oh.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
would you take back that guy?
Fuck no. That's what it
No
feels like.
way,
It's
no.
been so long because like what he goes to that jazz place and he's drinking. Like what is that 3 fucking years later, dude? Years
Is it
later,
First
years?
of all,
because he said
No,
he's
it's like,
19, right?
It's like the summer after like he went fucking.
Was he just
crazy,
like
right?
like giving him shit for being young and calling him 19? Then is that what that was? 'Cause,
no,
like,
I think he actually played a 19-year-old. He was actually 19, like in
Yeah,
in the
that was-
movie.
yeah, so,
Yeah,
but then
then
he's drinking
how'd he
alcohol.
get into that bar?
You know what I mean?
Who knows?
Was he?
It's a jazz
Oh.
bar. It's a little. It's
I don't
I don't know. That's why it
be a
felt like
little
years
weird.
apart, and I was over here like, if this woman does not answer the phone and be like, "What the fuck do you want?" Like, no, I don't want to go to
Yeah.
your fucking concert. Like, I don't know. She handled it good, I think, but that's funny.
What
I
were you gonna
never
say, Adrian?
ever thought she would be joking.
Yeah, no, a couple things there. She was way out of his fucking league. Are you kidding me? Main thing. But also, he was a total asshole to her. Like, he was like not a fucking like when they're having the conversation on the first date. He's like, actually, I'm at the most esteemed music college, and I know what I want to do with my life. What is it that you want to do? Oh, you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, why does she even care in the first place? I don't know.
I
That's
I
kinda
wrote
like-
that down to talk about that because that's a whole thing too. Like you've got a guy who's on a fucking mission. Like he knows what he wants. He's in the place to get it. and he's like directly opposed against somebody who has no idea what she wants to do, like is going to just some random
Going with the
school.
flow, right?
Yeah, going with the flow. Like he knows the song that's playing in the pizza shop, and she's just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like doesn't really care, you know.
Mhm.
But to him, like that's his whole world, and that
Mhm.
whole like clash was really interesting, just to see the both sides of like
Dude,
the laser focus and the like, I don't really know, I'm just chilling, gonna see what happens, and
dude,
how he
that
reacted.
that reminds me of the conversation in Soul where he's at the barbershop and he's like, "Oh, it was nice to talk to you about something that's not jazz or whatever." It's just like
Right.
they're so
Yeah.
similar. That's so cool.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's I we talk about mastering the craft. I think for him, it was an obsession,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And there's a difference,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and yeah, I mean that's one way that he loses in the end is that she's not there and she doesn't care either, you know?
Right.
Him.
I think there's, for me, one of the fatal flaws in this movie is, just focusing so much on the actual obsession and like needing to be the greatest, the best. When you look at some of the people that he's idolizing, Buddy Rich, for example, I read like some trivia. Buddy Rich was said to have never really practiced. He never had any formal training, and he's considered to be one of the greatest jazz drummers
Yeah.
to have ever lived.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
just that really stark contrast between what is greatness and does greatness come from literally being consumed by something, or is it something that you have a passion for and you just have our natural talent at it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that reminds me of like Allen Iverson. Like he was notorious for never practicing and not doing much, but he was like still one of the best point guards
Mhm.
ever. And like, and that was another funny thing that's a good thing you mentioned. It's just like, dude, there could probably be some fucking kid out there that just picks up the sticks and is better than him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
without all the practice. I mean, like maybe not, but like, there's some people that are just like naturally just fucking gifted around
Right.
Dude, that's the
anything.
thing, man. When you chase greatness like that, it's a fleeting thing. Even
Yeah.
if you get it, you're only gonna hold it for a little bit, you know? It's
Mhm.
crazy. And like to bring it back to like a musicianship, greatness in musicianship without the like bearing down and practicing part. Like the director was quoted saying that like he thinks that like practice shouldn't be fun and like it takes hard work to get good at something. But like, one of the guitarists that Taryn and I at least, and Adrian has listened to before too, and James a little bit, this guy Pliny, this Australian dude, he is not that. He is like super chill. He doesn't practice in a formal sense. He just like has fun and like writes music, makes songs. And he is consistently listed as one of the best guitarists in like coming out now, like ever, to ever write things. And
Yeah.
he's
Uh-huh.
put on the same list as people like Steve Vai and stuff. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
But some people do have that like
Yeah, like
talent or whatever
formal
it is.
knowledge or formal teaching, all that shit too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The ability to just make something good and maybe you have to try really hard and maybe you don't have to try that hard at all. But like that end result, is really what matters, I guess. Like how you get there, maybe it's not as important. And it's going to be different for
Mhm.
everybody. And I think it's just weird because the director puts all these things into this movie, yet his filmography is not very big and it fucking slays. Like almost every movie that he's made is really
It's like
good.
Oscar winning like
What else is
immediately.
it? La La Land.
La La Land, First Man, this movie, and
Okay,
that's like
I'm not.
basically it. Like there's like
Yeah,
maybe two other movies that he's like written or
I
helped
haven't seen
produce.
La La Land, but I've heard really good
Dude,
things.
it's so
I've
fucking
heard
good,
good things.
man. It's so crazy. I didn't realize that he did this movie. And at the end, or I don't know, I guess it's not spoilers, but like the part where the camera's switching back and forth in this movie
Yeah.
at the end, I was like, oh shit, that's
Yeah.
like in La La Land. And I was like, oh, it's the same fucking guy.
Mm.
That part in La La Land is like so cool too.
I noticed
Yeah.
that too this time after remember that video we watched where it like
Yeah,
shows you
yeah,
how
yeah.
they did that. I wrote literally like La La Land whip cam shot or whatever.
Yeah, just,
Yeah, it's cool. And he does a lot of like, I don't know. I think that his combination of visual storytelling, like through the lens, but also like the story is good. Like his stories are good. And maybe he himself, he is one of the people that has to work really hard to get there, right? And so you see that through this movie, like
Mm.
pursuing greatness and
He does maybe
work.
he doesn't necessarily just have it.
Yeah,
He has to
exactly.
work
Or
for
maybe he
it.
doesn't think that he has it. I don't know.
Sure. Okay.
When he
Okay.
might.
Okay.
But yeah, just a really interesting. I don't know. I think at the root, I think this is like a movie made by an artist for artists, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be a drummer. Like you can be
Mm.
pursuing anything and connect with it,
yeah, for sure.
which is cool. It's a big part of why I really like this movie.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a maybe another big problem I think I have going back to just there's a quote that's shown at one point in the movie. I think Neiman has it on a wall, and I feel like I'm paraphrasing, but I think it says like those who do not have ability end up playing in a rock band. I think that's what the quote says.
Wow.
And
I missed that one.
yeah, and I read that quote and I remember just thinking like, fuck you, like you know,
so
like
pretentious. Oh my
what,
God.
like you know, and that I feel like that quote echoes the entire vibe for the movie for me. You know, it's just thinking that your shit doesn't stink, that you're doing God's work, and anyone who is just casually playing an instrument.
But that's
is-
jazz music in itself. Like,
maybe so.
Yeah.
Jazz
Maybe
culture.
so. But I mean, but the thing about it too, like, you know, to go back to Buddy Rich, a guy who claims to have never had any formal training or practice and being one of the greats, you know, it's like, where is that? You know, I don't know.
Which is interesting about jazz because, like, okay, so going back to Fletcher, like, he's very into getting it right to the T, to the sheet music and this and that on tempo. But it wasn't jazz basically all about improv,
Probably
right?
why
Like,
he never himself was great. Like he was by the book and never strayed, right? And if you can't stray, then you're not going to make it your own, and you're not going to be recognized as like an individual, right? Which is, I think, a lot of people fall into when they pursue something. There's a lot of copycats or a lot of like whatever, you know. But the interesting part, because I thought about that too, Adrian, that quote with the rock, if you know you're not good enough, you'll be in a rock band, which is funny because like in this day and age, and even when this movie was made, there's like, you know, like we could go down the rabbit hole, but like tech death bands that were arguably way more skilled and like technically oriented than these jazz guys could be. But it's just, yeah, there's a culture around that stuff that's like, I feel like pretentious, and I feel like that's not where it originated from, which I think soul does well.
Yeah, so we got a comment. Jazz used to be low music. Now it's for fancy people. Yeah, this is music made by black people that were poor in New Orleans. You know, like it's like it's like how did it become this thing? Like it's so weird.
Yeah. They just bastardize it and you know make it a whole thing. I don't know.
I know. It's because white people always try to steal shit, man. Dude.
I mean, that turns into that's like with everything. Like if you think of even something random like New York style pizza, right? How it's just like, oh, it's the water that they have that it's just like makes it so good. And like when you really dissect something so far down, it was just like this was just like street food. Like this was like not something that's supposed to be
poor people food,
you know?
Dude, same thing with fucking lobster, man. It was prison food.
It was prison food.
No,
it's so funny.
That'll be $75, sir.
Yeah. And it's so funny to just see things that that a craft gets its you know talons into and just completely changes it into like no, you're wrong, this is how you do it. And I really have a problem with that, because I think that, you know, there's a quote that I feel like J.K. Simmons' character says it, again paraphrasing, but it's The most dangerous phrase in the English language is good enough. Is that?
Good job.
No
Good job.
two words. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. And for me, I'm just like, you know what? Good enough is good enough. Like, you know, and I for me, like, you know,
And that's
a
why
lot of
you won't be a great.
right.
That's
Yeah.
why you won't be the
No,
best, dude.
But that's okay with me because it's good enough. Like, you know, a lot of you guys know that like I enjoy making cocktails and stuff. And there's, you know, one of my favorite YouTubers, like his whole thing is like, at the end of the day, if the drink in your glass is something you enjoy, then it's a great cocktail. Like, and it's good enough, you know? And it's like cocktails can get into whole kinds of crazy things too. And it, you know, for me, good enough is good enough. To go these crazy leaps and bounds above the standard deviation is just ridiculous.
And okay, so for me, like I'm like torn between both worlds. I'm just like, fuck, if somebody just told me like, I don't know, like we talked about it earlier, like it's just like if somebody totally shit on me, I probably would quit, maybe, right? Like I don't know. I don't know if I have that in me. I don't know if I have that in me. But like I don't know. That's what makes like Fletcher's style of teaching just like so weird because in one sense you sort of agree with him. You're like, well, he's kind of right. And in the other sense, well, he's being a fucking asshole. And that's what's like interesting about this movie is that it pulls you in like two different directions. It kind of tugs at like your general like feeling of how you feel. I don't know. Like can you take things personally? Or will you just shove it off? Will you be the great? Will you be the next great? Like, or are you just gonna be good enough? Good job.
Right.
It's like
it's
how
interesting.
how different people take criticism. I guess is like,
Yeah.
like don't tell me good job. Like what can I improve? Blah blah blah. Like there's just people that are like that, like trying to constantly improve. But like,
and
yeah, I don't know. Go ahead.
and that's like I guess where I don't know. It would be boring to see Fletcher actually like giving constructive criticism, right? Like this is like this is the kind of movie like I don't know. It reminds me of like early 2000s when everybody is like obsessed with the asshole teacher. You got Gordon Ramsay, you got Simon Cowell, like all these angry British people. I don't know why they're always British, but they're always fucking angry and they're always assholes. Like I don't know, like that's what's funny about this movie is like it kind of pulls from that like I don't know.
That's so funny.
As an audience, we're kind of obsessed with these angry characters too, right? Like we love to watch Gordon Ramsay say, "It's fucking wrong." Like we love that shit.
You're
Like
an
we
idiot
laugh
sandwich.
about it. Like I don't know. Did you guys laugh? Like in this movie, it's so fucking personal. It's so close to it. Like everyone's so like into each other's face that you can't help but laugh because it's so uncomfortable, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like you have to laugh at Fletcher's like his word choice.
Yeah, there were some moments where he would like one of the competitions, he like walks in, closes the door, and like drums up the troops with some like ridiculous, speech full of just fucking crazy words. But like for the most part, it just felt kind of it felt like dark. Like every time that he would like do something that was like over the top, I'd just be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But like it didn't even really compare to the shit that fucking Neiman would do later. Like when he gets into the car accident and just like shows up and plays the drums and like clearly his arm is like fucked. Like that shit was even I was just like, oh my god. Like
yeah.
I
don't know how to
can't even begin to describe how pissed off I was when that scene happened.
Okay, talk about it. Like I don't know. You see Fletcher like that like solidifies the psychopath that Fletcher is. He's not even concerned about what is essentially a child being fucked up. He's like got blood all over him. Like he's just like, you're done. Get out, dude.
Okay,
like,
the person who really has blood on them is Fletcher. I mean, the fact that Fletcher tormented somebody to the point where they had so much PTSD that they killed themselves. And he says later on in the movie that he's not going to apologize for anything.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
you literally tormented somebody to the point of them taking their own life, and you don't think that you're doing anything wrong.
Call me a psycho, but like, I don't know. Like that's the thing about this
You're
movie.
a
It makes
psycho.
yeah, like I don't know. Like there's something attractive about someone who's unapologetically a fucking asshole.
But like
I
at the
know.
same
Call me an
time,
asshole. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. Like he did it, and like he's living with no regrets. He's stuck to his guns. He's just that's just the way he does things.
He's the Conor
Yeah.
McGregor who's fighting tonight, actually, as we're recording. I'd like to take this second to apologize to absolutely fucking no one. Like,
Oh,
you know, that's
God, dude.
Yeah. Just
No, when we learn in the movie, right, we don't know that it was his fault yet because
'Cause
he
he
covers
lies.
it up because he lies, right? But there is like a smidge where you see that Fletcher might have some ounce of a heart, where he literally cries and is like, "I just wanted you all to know that he was a beautiful player," but like it's at his own hands. Where I think he also knows that, and it's just a weird dynamic. Like, how are you
But-
supposed to feel? I think at the end you're supposed to hate him, but like,
he's just
it
constantly
feels weird.
playing as an actor. Like nothing he like presents to people is like a real. It's not real. It's like a front. And so like he's able to lash out. So he's crying and then he immediately lashes out again.
Yeah.
And at that point you're just like, well, this guy was just fucking laughing. Can't be that mad. Or that this guy was just crying, so you can't be that mad when he's lashing out at me. So it was like this like weird fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
I felt like his lash out after the death, after announcing the death, was just emotionally driven. Like he was just like, not now. And Neiman pushes it and he's like, I said, not fucking now. Like, I think he's trying to deal with his own shit in that moment. But it doesn't make him a good person. It just makes him,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
no.
it just makes him a real person. Like,
Yeah.
he's a monster. I think we can agree on that. But at the same time, he feels something for contributing to the death of another person.
Sure.
And I don't know. That's where, like, even though it is very clearly on the side of, like, this dude's a fucking psycho and we should not like him, even showing that in the movie was, like, really interesting. Like, seeing that little side of it.
That and when he's interacting with the little girl and shit in the hallway, like they try to
Yeah.
like humanize him like a lot in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I totally forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up. And you said like something about when he got in the car accident and he was like, you're done or whatever. But when Neiman tries to play the drums with like the broken arm, there's even a shot where it pans to Fletcher and he's like, what the fuck? Like he's even like, holy shit, this guy's insane, you know?
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, he's such an interesting character, I think, in all of film that like
Yeah.
it just brings this whole dynamic and it's really rare, I guess.
Yeah.
Such a
But
complicated
That's what's
character.
like that's what's
Yeah.
interesting about this movie. It's just like it's just fresh takes. I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude.
It feels like a sports movie, but it doesn't have the bad tropes where he wins the girl at the end.
Yeah,
It's a
And
championship.
he wins the championship and all
Right.
this kind of stuff. It feels that way because it's very competitive. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're creeping up on about an hour. I know you guys still have a lot. What are some important topics you guys want to bring up while we round it out here?
I just have one real one, I guess. But like there's like this kind of running theme about how Neiman's dad is just like so supportive throughout the whole movie. Like he's behind him 100%. He wants him to do well in whatever that he, like, you know, whatever he does. But one of the like interesting things I noticed this time, and it's like a small thing, But they go to the movies the first time, and Neiman dumps the Raisinets and the popcorn, and there's the little like back and forth between like I'd see it around them because I know you like it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, when Neiman's done with the school and shit, gets his own apartment, they watch a movie there. They're eating popcorn, but there's no Raisinets in it this
No
time because his
Raisinets, yeah.
dad didn't put them in.
Yeah.
And that's like the like overarching like theme of his dad as a character. It's just like I'll be there for you and I'm gonna support you and I'm gonna do what you need or what you want the whole time. Down to the
Yeah.
very end, where where it's basically two fucking psychopaths going at it, like mentally, right? He's still just like, you're gonna fucking turn around and go back on that stage, and just like, okay, but he just goes back and watches,
MVP, dude.
But
Yeah.
like that's like, but like he's like, for some reason for me he's like the more sad character, like such a heartbreaking character for me. Like he's just like, I'm not gonna let a teacher do this to my son. Like when they're talking to the lawyer or whoever it is, I don't remember exactly who
Yeah.
it is. And it's just like, it's just so heartbreaking. And that at the end, he's just watching his son monster, and you can't help but think that it's just like going back. He's just not the alpha dog. Like he's just
Yeah.
like this guy who's passive. Even when Fletcher like talks to Neiman in the hallway, and he's just like, "Oh, so what has he written?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing," because he's like, "Oh, he's a writer."
Right.
Oh, but he's like, "Oh, he's actually a teacher." Again, the same thing, whereas those who can't do teach kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he even brings that up. He's like, "No wonder why your fucking mom left you." All this kind of
That's
shit.
so fucked
Why
up.
he left your dad? Because his dad is.
Make your
He's
dad
like,
look like a success story, he says. I'm like, damn.
Neiman is like literally a clone of his dad. It's just like this guy who's probably not going to be great. He's not going to be the writer. He's not going to be the guy who sells New York Times bestseller lists, all that kind of stuff. And Neiman's this guy who's kind of passive, but he's trying his best. But
I think he overcomes that at the end.
yeah,
though.
because Fletcher is like more of a father to him in some weird way.
Yeah,
It's
maybe
like
there is
it's
that.
Father
it's like that
pushes
hard.
him.
Yeah, it's that hard ass father that just not gonna take your shit and is gonna push you over the edge. Like he's got
Yeah.
Wants you to
he's got
succeed.
mommy issues, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's very sad. It's very sad to see his dad's perspective, I think.
I think that his dad is a good character because he is supportive no matter what. Like that's the number one thing I think you could do as a parent for your child.
Yeah.
But I think you're right in that, like, yeah, maybe his dad was always too either afraid or whatever to follow his true dreams and, try to become great or whatever. And there is some like fatherly components to Fletcher with Neiman. And I think that's where maybe I hit with this movie the most is like I see some of my stepdad in Fletcher with just some of the ridiculous shit that I had to put up with growing up. Like you
Yeah.
guys know this.
Yeah.
Like there has been times where I'm just like, this is fucking bullshit. But like at the same time, growing like to do the things that I've done, I don't think I would have been able to do them without putting up with all that bullshit. Like,
wow.
you can look at it from both ways. Like, yeah,
You got the symbol hurled at your head.
he hurled the symbol at my head, but it taught me how to take those fucking hits, and keep going.
Yeah.
And so, like, this is just a hard.
I know.
It's hard to quantify those things. It's hard to like know how
justify.
to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to justify for sure.
It's hard to justify, and it's hard to say whether or not it's right or wrong. And that's what's like interesting about this movie.
Yeah.
For
Is what is right, what is wrong.
I agree, 100%.
So actually, there's one thing I noticed that was like just a cool thing, I guess, is this song that what's his name? Fletcher is playing at the jazz place, the little piano song. That song is playing like the whole time that oh my god, I'm blanking on. Neiman is moving out of his old place and stuff, moving out of the school, and it's playing that whole time. And I'm just like, damn, he just lives in his head rent free.
Yeah.
And he's just like ready to go. Like it just shows that he's just always thinking about this. That's why he's so like willing to just try it again.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. I don't know. Thought that was a cool touch.
That is interesting.
That is cool.
All right.
Anything else? Oh, I saw your birthday in this movie, Jay. I was like, damn, is he gonna see it and be like, what the fuck?
I didn't even see it. What was it?
Oh
It
no.
was an
Here we
ad
go.
for the jazz competition. It ends on June 29th.
Oh my god.
No.
Forever haunted.
It's confirmation bias.
That's so
It doesn't
funny.
mean anything, Jay. Just let
Yeah,
it go.
okay. You keep thinking that, bud.
All right. Who wants to rate this first? There's no way I can go first. There's no way.
I
I want
almost
James
want
to
you to
go
go
first.
No.
Oh, I want James to go
Who?
first.
Okay.
So he doesn't get influenced, bro.
Sure.
I don't even want. I don't think I could do it justice. Okay. Yeah. So I've seen this movie twice. I'm gonna come out right away and say You've seen this 4 times, Jay?
I think like at least 3.
Yeah. I've only seen this 2 times, and watching it again didn't hit as hard as the first time. I think because like the big hitters in the movie that make it just so like kind of shocking. I think the car crash scene is just like,
For sure.
fuck, dude. I hate every time I watch a movie or like TV show and they're driving. I'm just like always like the
camera
someone's
looking
gonna
up.
hit them. Like I'm just like.
Yeah.
Like oh, it's like paranoid, and then it wasn't even. You know what was crazy? It wasn't because of this movie. Like I just always had that fear for some reason. And then when it happened in this movie, the first time I saw it, I was like, "It happened," because I was like, Jesus. But anyways, I think like watching it again, I didn't like it as much as I did when I saw it the first time. But like kind of diving into it and doing a lot of research on the movie, like. Man, this movie just brings up so many different conversations and just like so many different facets of like my life, like just music wise and just how like sometimes when you're involved in the arts, you can kind of get unappreciated it's underappreciated. Like I was just thinking of my wife and the whole Rita Porcelain thing. She's an art major. Like I don't know, I just made so many different connections with this movie, and it was just. It's just interesting. My favorite shot in the whole movie we didn't even talk about was when he dips his bloody hands into
Oh shit.
the jug and
Yeah.
into the ice, and it's just nice Kool-Aid water. I want to get a sip of that. But that scene is just incredible to me. But I don't know. Is this movie Hall of Fame? That's the question that keeps coming back to me. Is it a Hall of Fame movie? I don't know. We didn't talk anything bad about it. I think the pacing at the end is kind of weird, kind of slow. I don't think a lot of people. I don't know. I was interested in hearing what Taryn's mom was gonna think about this movie.
I was too.
I just was like kind of worried about it. I was like, oh, I think they're gonna think it's boring, or maybe just the whole Fletcher thing is too overbearing, like it's just too much. And I don't know if this is a movie for everybody. I think it drags in some parts. Some negatives.
You just said the ending was kind of slow or boring. What did you say?
I didn't like when he all of a sudden it was just like summer at the bottom of the screen. And like it was weird. It was awkward to me.
Before he meets Fletcher again, like that
before
whole
he meets
moving out.
Fletcher.
Okay.
Yeah, it just
see.
felt weird. That felt awkward to me. And like I don't know, I didn't need to know that it was summer. I don't know. There was montage. Time passed. Okay, I get it. And then I don't know. That's like my only complaints about it. But I don't know. This movie is weirdly inspiring and also very discouraging. Like I'm like, wow, I'm like inspired to be better, but I'm just like, at what cost is it? And I don't know. This movie it's great. It makes you think so many different things, and I think that's what makes this movie great. And I don't know. I'm pushing Hall of Fame here, pushing it.
Pushing, that means it's under.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Give me one more second. I have a few more things to,
No, yeah,
to
go for it.
spit
Go
out of
for it.
my mouth.
Spit it on me.
Wow. Now I'm blanking. I'm blanking, and I'm on the hot chair, and I'm ranting, and yeah. I think just the general themes and the way that this movie makes you think about so many things for being such a simple movie. I'm gonna have to give it a 9 because it's
Nice.
just I feel like it's just right there. I feel like it's just got everything that I like in a movie, and I think the conversations we had here tonight really pushed me up. I was 8.5 earlier today,
Wow.
but I think I'm just gonna bump it up because I I feel like I haven't talked even in our last movie, Children of Men, I didn't talk this much, which is exciting. So
Yeah.
9.
9 out of James. All
Same,
right.
same
So
as
he's
my mom.
keeping the really wow, keeping the Hall of
Nice.
Fame
Wow,
dream
yeah, wow.
alive.
Surprising.
Gerald
Wow.
and your mom gave it a 9, so I'm
9.3.
surprised with that
Wow.
score, but yeah.
Wow.
Great
All
takes,
right.
James. They say.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Taryn, do you want to go next?
Yeah,
You call
actually,
on me?
I wanted to go next because I feel like James said all the stuff that I felt. Because this is also the second time I watched this movie, and I totally agree. It did not. I think I like it less because I watched it again. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit the same. And
Yeah.
but once I dug deeper into it and just was doing research, I was like, damn, this movie is pretty freaking sick, man.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
I
know.
still love it, but just watching it again, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It just wasn't as entertaining, wasn't as good the second time, but it's still like a great movie, right? Just those feelings you get the first time, you can't replicate that shit. And it's just one of those movies
Yeah.
that maybe you watch once because that's all you could do. You know,
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
want the eye bleach. You wanna go back in time and like take it out of your memory kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those for me. So I don't know. All the stuff we talked about was just so good, man. Like the obsession that Neiman has, the obsession that J.K. Simmons has to get like his fucking Emperor Palpatine looking ass, like, yes, let the hate flow through you, like I'm getting into your brain at the end of the movie. Like that end scene is so fucking good. That's why I was questioning you. I was like, what do you mean the end? Because like that whole concert and shit is so fucking
The
good.
transition.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
for
Like
sure.
maybe yeah,
I
if
could
that
agree
makes
with
sense.
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
my God, that whole end scene is so fucking intense. Like the twists and turns are like, God damn, J.K. Simmons is a fucking
And you finally get to
asshole.
hear you finally get to hear the entire Whiplash song in its entirety.
Yes, I
Like
loved that.
bam,
Yeah.
ba, ba, bam, ba, bam, ba, 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 bam. Anyway, sorry.
No, I like it. I like it. Yeah, dude. It's like the way that Neiman takes over. Like it's just like fuck. Their arcs are complete, dude. It's like this end of this movie is like so good. Like that shit elevates it so much for me. And like, just like all the backstory with the director and stuff. Like another thing that we didn't mention was he got in like a really serious car accident while filming the movie and like was
Oh, really?
hospitalized and shit and showed up the next day to filming. It was just like he is Neiman, like he's ready to fucking go, dude. Like
They filmed the movie in 19 days, by the way.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
$3 million or something. It's so fucking low. Crazy. Yeah, I definitely am gonna remember I fucking fucked it up. God damn it. What's his name? The director? I was gonna say I will
Damien
always
Chazelle.
remember Damien Chazelle's name now because because I realize that the movies he makes are really fucking amazing. So that's awesome. But yeah, J.K. Simmons, can't say enough good things about that performance, dude. Insane shit. All right, I ran out of steam. I don't know what else to say, so I'll rate it right now. Because of the second viewing, it's a little down. If I didn't watch it again and just like gave you a rating, it'd be a lot higher. But I'm just gonna say 8.7.
All right, 8.7 out of 10. The Fumbler Hall of Fame dream is alive if
Yes.
both Jay and I decided to give it.
Adrian's so ready to kill it. Look at him. He's waiting for it.
I just
Kill it. No.
I want
ahead,
you to
Jay.
go,
No,
dude.
don't let my score influence this, please.
I think you
Because I
should
gave
go
it
with
higher than I was initially going into it.
I'll go if you really want to go last, but
I can go. Sorry, guys. This was not for me. This movie did not land on almost any plane. I think the entire review so far, I was really keeping my cards close to my chest. I know that, you guys had a lot of great things and like, you related a lot to this. And I'm not trying to take anything away from that, from how you guys, related to this movie, but for me, it did not land. I didn't relate to it in any way. I feel like the writing was terrible. The storytelling, I think was awful. I think
What
that
the fuck? That's
I'm
crazy.
sorry. I'm sorry. And okay, for example, the scene where Neiman gets hit by a fucking truck, his car flips over, he crawls out of the rummage, and where's my drumsticks? Grabs it, sprints to the concert hall, and I'm just like, are you serious? Like, this is the most unbelievable. Like, this is
What the fuck?
laughably
Bro,
bad.
suspend your belief a little bit. What
I'm
the
sorry.
fuck?
I'm sorry. And
Tiny bit.
the final
story.
scene. I know it is.
And that's I knew like I that's what I was thinking. I was like, not a lot of people are just gonna be like, this is just stupid. Like this is just not there.
Hey,
but
no disrespect to like to anyone who actually enjoys this movie. I see that it has something for it has something for some people, but it just was not for me. The ending scene, James, Taryn, you guys talked like really highly about it. I think it was like one of the worst storytelling scenes in the movie, where you have this completely esteemed instructor who's just going to completely like make an ass out of Neiman at this is like super important thing, right? This is an important thing not only for the band members but also for Fletcher, and he's going to just fuck himself over too by putting in a drummer who doesn't know the song, who doesn't know
which
what
makes
song
it so crazier, like which makes it like he's doing he's doing everything wrong that he believes in. He's like, because he says it, he's like, you're not gonna sabotage my band, and then he purposely sabotages his own band just to make Neiman fucked over because he lost his job. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
It's like, why do you fucking care so much? And honestly, I got the vibe when I was watching it that Neiman wasn't going to testify against Fletcher, because he didn't definitively say in the actual movie like, yeah, it was Fletcher, or yeah, Fletcher tormented me. He's just like didn't say anything, like pleaded the fifth. And so that's why at the end I was just like, it wasn't even fucking Neiman. It was all of the other hundreds or dozens of students that you've completely tormented, some of them to the point of suicide, and you just don't care, like because it's just the craft. And it's like, I don't think that that's what greatness comes from. Maybe sometimes. I think greatness doesn't come from being physically and mentally tormented by people.
But doesn't that make him a great character?
No, and that's the next thing. I hated all of the characters. Like, there's not a character.
Neiman is fucking annoying.
Yeah,
Neiman
You're not rooting
is
for
shitty.
any of the characters. He tried to have a love interest, and then that completely crumbled. And I was like, okay, that was pointless. And I'm glad that I'm glad that he didn't win her in the end. That would have been dog shit. That would have been terrible.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she was like, no, sorry, I got a new boyfriend, which, good. I'm glad they went there.
Yeah.
And I think, I really went into this movie thinking pretty positively about it, and I actually did enjoy it. I enjoyed the intensity that J.K. Simmons brought to the character, but it got old so fast. Like, after the first really harsh phrases that Fletcher said to all of his students, after those few, I was like, okay, I get it. He's an asshole. And then at the end, it's like, I get it. Neiman's a great drummer. You know, like I don't know. It missed on almost every mark. Like, I'm so sorry that you guys loved it so much.
It's fine.
And that I'm shitting on it right
It's
now.
all good.
But
People are wrong sometimes. It's fine.
yeah, like you
I'm just
right
kidding.
now, so it's
I'm just
okay.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
The redeeming qualities of it, the music was good. It was interesting to like to see the very meticulousness of Fletcher, and like of him knowing like, okay, somebody's out of tune. Is it the brass? Is it the winds? Is it, you know, and catching that. It was like, it was cool as it was building up. I think J.K. Simmons was the star of the show, and I think if there was better writing, that his character would have been really fucking good. I think it was very well acted. Writing was poorly executed. So I don't know, man. Would I watch it again? No, I absolutely not. Which is like, surprises me that you guys are saying, "Oh, the second watch wasn't as good." I'm like, okay, if I already feel this badly about it. I don't know. I see the conversations that we've had. I see the meaning that can go into this. It's just none of it landed for me. It's right in the middle. It's a 5.
Holy
A
shit.
5 out of 10.
Jesus.
Whoa!
I'm
It
sorry.
was probably like,
Whoa!
it was probably like 7 before this, bro. Oh my god.
What do you
There's
mean?
no way
No,
it was
no.
worse than like
It
Running
was lower than
Scared
a
and
5. Oh wait,
all that shit.
no. Yeah, this was worse than
Running Scared.
It's the
This
only one
was
I could
The
think
Hall
of.
of Famer potential Running Scared.
This I
Yeah,
was
sorry,
watching
sorry.
this, and I remember looking at the time, and I was like, "There's 30 minutes left. There's no hope. There's no way this movie can redeem itself." And sorry, that's where I'm at. Jay,
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I've killed.
Jay.
I knew it. I saw it in your face. I was like, he's
I'm
so
sorry,
ready
I
to.
was hiding the cards really close to my
You were
chest.
not hiding the cards. We were having a conversation in our chat. We already knew it. We already.
No,
knew
I
it.
know, and I alluded
Ready
to it
to
a
do it.
lot. But I didn't want to
Yeah.
fully say that I hated it until I got
Under
I let you
Wraps
guys-
is a better movie than this.
Under Wraps is a better movie. Yes,
Jesus
I would
Christ.
watch
At least
Under
it's
Wraps.
fun.
I would watch Under Wraps 100 more times before I would watch this again. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh.
So should we just
Okay.
kick him out now, or should we wait?
Hey, can you just disconnect the
Yeah,
film fumblers where 3 friends fumble through your favorite films?
yeah, that's that ring.
Wow, I'm gutted, dude.
Sorry.
I
Give
kind
it
of
a
wish
10,
you went
give it a
last
10.
now.
No,
Fuck.
It didn't even matter.
It wouldn't
That's
even
why I
matter.
waited
No,
to go
no.
last, because I was like, I'll push this motherfucker in Hall of Fame. I don't give a fuck. But now it's not even possible. I need
It's
to give it like a
impossible.
25 in order to fucking do
Hey,
it.
we never set boundaries. Just saying.
Oh god.
100.
You give it a 25. I'll
100.
revise my score. This is not on the
Negative
thumbnail.
25.
Yeah, you give it a negative, we're gonna have some problems. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's no secret. I like this movie a lot. I like this director a lot. I liked the story. I don't care what Adrian has gone
Hey,
off about
don't-
for the last.
I
10
didn't
minutes.
let James and Taryn's score influence mine. Don't let mine influence yours.
I definitely will not. Don't you worry about that.
Just
If
say,
anything, it makes
don't
it
ju-
higher. 'Cause
don't justify
That is an
your score. Don't feel like you have to justify your score. So
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
No, okay. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, you know, the cinematography is beautiful. To tell a story based around sound visually has to be a challenge, and I thought that they just did a superb job. I think that the characters were great. I agree that maybe they're extreme or annoying or whatever, but I think there's supposed to be, and I thought that it worked really well. I agree that J.K. Simmons stole the show. He was clearly the like powerhouse that kind of anchored this whole movie, and without him, I don't know if it would be as good, to be honest.
sure.
I think that a lot of the just interesting things that we've talked about with like, you know, mastering stuff or obsession or whatever, I think that those are just really interesting themes in general, and so to see them kind of brought to life on the screen in this way, it's always just really cool. And it's, even if there's a lot of stories that center around those things, the way in which they do it is just really interesting to me. So the fact that this was like specifically about jazz drumming, but like conveys the same message. It's just it's cool to me. Yeah, I mean, the ending is like it's really intense. You're kind of just like, what the fuck is happening? You know. I really love the kind of like kickback of like, no, now I'm gonna cue you in, motherfucker. You know,
Dude,
like
when he mouths "fuck
Yeah.
you" to him, I was like, yes, that's so fucking
Yeah.
funny, dude. It's so
like
good.
James said, you know, he sabotages his own band, goes against what he thinks to try to do that, but then at the end, does he really? Like they play a fucking crazy set, and it actually ends up good. Like I don't know, it's
Yeah, man.
the whole ending.
So that he always talks about Charlie Parker throwing the cymbal, and at the
Yeah.
end he's fixing his cymbal. Remember, it
Yeah,
falls
yeah.
down a little bit.
I like that part too.
And then he calls him Andrew. He doesn't call him Neiman, which also isn't his actual name. It's Naaman. He says it in
Never
the beginning of the
corrects him, or
movie.
what?
Yeah.
Naaman.
That's
Oh,
funny.
wow.
I didn't
In
know
the
I
beginning
think
of the
that's
movie,
that.
he says, "I'm Andrew Naaman," and he calls him Neiman, which maybe is possibly like
Like a slight to
intentional.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's like,
But then he
I'm
calls
not gonna
him
correct
Andrew.
you. I'm too scared. Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I thought the editing of the movie was fucking crazy. We don't really talk about editing a lot in general on this show, but like there was a lot to kind of learn from there.
Mm-hmm.
The constant thing that I thought of specifically this time watching it is that like the Larry David meme with the "fuck you and I'll see you tomorrow" thing.
Yeah.
That was like the whole thing here. But you know, you guys have talked a lot about like watching it again and not liking it as much. To me, like I think that art that is supposed to make an impact is supposed to make an impact the first time you see it. And like no matter what way you cut it, it's not going to be as good the second time. That being
Yeah.
said, I know that there are some movies that benefit from that, but like you still know everything that's happening. Like just because you can pick up some more Easter eggs and shit along the way doesn't necessarily mean that like it's hitting you the same way the first time. So to down your score because of that, I think is bullshit. I'm just gonna say it.
Ooh.
But
Throwing more shade than Adrian right now.
Ouch.
God damn.
Whoa.
hey, I just gotta stand up to this thing, man.
Where two friends fumble through your favorite.
Oh shit,
See
Jay,
ya.
let's go, baby.
In the end, I have to come to the level of James here, and I'll give it a 9 as well. I had an 8.7 written down, and I thought that this was a good conversation, and it, you know,
Yeah.
it brought more things up than I thought it would. So
Yeah,
I had
good.
fun.
Good choice.
I had
dude.
fun tonight with you guys, boys. You guys, boys. You dudes.
Boys, guys.
You
Yeah,
boys,
no.
guys.
Dude, I am
Can I-
so interested to know what Adrian thinks of La La Land. Like, cause it's different, but it's
Oh,
like
dude,
similar.
I wanna. Yeah, I know.
I want to watch it
I've
so
heard.
bad.
I've heard really good things about that movie, so we'll see. I'm ready to shit
Dude,
on that one.
February.
Well,
It's
yeah,
a love story.
shit
February,
on
bro.
that one.
It's
True,
a love story.
true.
February. I'm picking it. If I win.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
no.
If it happens, I do love Ryan Gosling though, and who else? What's her name?
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling. Like I feel like you can't miss with them. So
Mhm.
we'll see. We'll see. All right. So we have collectively rated this movie a 7.9.
Jesus Christ.
My
yeah, you say
wow.
collectively, and I say fuck no, this ain't collectively.
score.
What?
You know what? All right, let me pull up the
Sheesh.
second calculator. Let me pull out my what do we have? We had a 9 from James, an 8.7 from Taryn, and a 9 from Jay.
Yeah. What is
That would have been an 8.9.
Dude.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Which is like a good score. Which is like probably the correct score.
Well, the correct score is a 7.925 because that's what we Hey.
You dick.
love it, hate it, James. But
We need
we
more
would love-
divisive movies. That was fun. That was good.
Yeah, and you know what? To be fair, I was legitimately planning on opening up with me saying like, guys, I hated this, but I didn't want to. I don't know. I didn't want the
Teased us
whole
out,
vibe.
bro.
I didn't want the whole vibe of the show to just be like Adrian hates it. Let's try to talk him out of it. I don't know. I was like, let me let you guys. I'm gonna let y'all finish, but but I'm
This
gonna
is
tell
a
you why
5.
But Whiplash was the worst jazz movie of the January jazz that we've done.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, 7.925 or 8.9, whatever score you
Aiden
guys.
just gets a whole point to himself. Holy shit.
Yeah, I get a whole point to myself. We would love to know what you guys thought about this movie. Did it land for you? Because a lot of people, James was worried about it. James was worried that this movie may not land for everyone.
Yeah, I had that feeling.
So it didn't land for me. It landed for 3 of 4 of us. So we'd love to know what you guys think. Hit us up on all of our socials. Find all of those at filmfumblers.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Next week we will be Twitch, twitch.tv/filmfumblers, where we record our episodes live. Next week we are recording an episode on Night at the Roxbury. So tune in for that. That's going to be, what is that? January 30th. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Stick around for the after show if you're watching us live. Have a great night, guys. Cheers.
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 Cheers.